All right, we're back. Uh, possibly, possibly one of the best, if not the best, Real Madrid game um, of the season. Have to give credit where it's due. Amazing, and it comes off of a game. You know that Mbappe's not there, a player that until recently a lot of people were saying that Real Madrid depended too much on him. It was Mbappe dependence, and today Real Madrid showed that without Mbappe they can play just as good and honestly, and this is a bold take, but better without him. Whereas possibly when he's on the field, most of the most of the game is uh is played through him. Today the game was played through the entire team, and highlight Gonzalo Garcia hat trick, amazing, showing why he has won his position over Endrick, why Endrick had to leave and Gonzalo stays, and why when there was a time to substitute out the striker, it was always Gonzalo Garcia. He showed why he was the top scorer in the Club World Cup, and he's showing that, without Mbappe, he can come in and play just as well. And it's crazy. It's honestly crazy because Real Madrid broke bank for Mbappe, and all of a sudden you have a striker that comes out of the youth ranks, and he's just as good, and he's scoring goals. And once again, Vinny without a goal, his drought continues. He gets subbed out today in the game, and he's not very happy about it. The the Bernabeu jeered at him once again, whistled at him, and they're not happy. They're not happy with his attitude. They're not happy with his gameplay, and he's not happy either. Every time he comes off the field, he's angry, he's frustrated, he takes it out on Xabi Alonso, and and he's not happy at all. And now the fans are not happy, and they haven't been happy for some time, honestly. So very interesting to note. Let's take a look at FOTMob. We're here. Let's look at the stats today. Possession. Real Madrid with a lot of possession. Honestly, they played really well, and I think the thing that we should take away, the most important takeaway, is their defense. They had a really good defense, and hate watching aside, you could have been hate watching yesterday if you're a Real Madrid fan. You were hate watching Barca, and if you're a Barcelona fan, you're hate watching today Real Madrid. But it's very hard to hate watch. You end up hate watching the opposite team because they don't do enough. I'm sure if you're a Real Madrid fan, you were watching the game yesterday, the Barcelona game, you're just frustrated at all the chances that Espanyol missed. And today was the same thing. It was just all the chances that Betis couldn't really develop because they didn't have that many chances, honestly. Real Madrid played very, very good defense. And I'll tell you what, if they continue with this type of defense throughout the season, it's going to be very hard for them to drop any more points. I think we saw a version of Xabi Alonso's Real Madrid that we were seeing in the beginning of the season, and I think the goals reflect that. I think it's a really positive win for him. It's a really positive win for the team, and it's a really humbling victory for Vinny, for Mbappe, saying, "Hey, with or without you, we can get it done." And just a very special game today. I'm gonna put aside my bias today and say this is a very good game by Real Madrid. Um, we have to talk about Gonzalo Garcia, obviously, but we got to talk about a few other players. I think Rudiger and Asensio did a really good job on defense. They tucked Valverde off as the right back for today's game once again, starting on the right back. 2 assists, really? Is that what that is? Yeah, 2 assists from Valverde, 2 assists from Rodrigo, and 3 goals for Gonzalo Garcia. A goal for Asensio, and who got the last goal? Was it a sub? Yep, Fran Garcia got the goal. So so really good. Rodrigo, I think he had the free kick and maybe the corner kick. I have to go see that, but really good game. Let's talk about the players really quick. Courtois, solid game. He had one or two saves that were really good, but besides that, he didn't have to really work that hard. Let's look really quick at the stats for Courtois. Keeper saves four saves, four saves, and off of how many shots? Shots on target five, six shots on target, four saves. So not bad from Courtois. He was beat once. The other goalkeeper was Valles, and he got beat five times. Um, the defense, like I said, Rudiger, Asensio, really good. Carreras, really good. Tucked in as a center back for the last 5 minutes of the game, while Mendy comes back, just showing that little by little, Real Madrid is getting their players back. They're getting their depth back, and they have a depth that Barcelona does not have. So it's very important for what is going to be the rest of the season. I think Carvajal is on his way back. Trent might be on his way back. So not a lot of long-term injuries in this team. Bellingham had a solid game. Tchouaméni, Camavinga, defensive midfielders kind of thing. Vinny played as a striker, just like this, like what you're seeing here. Bellingham plays his best football here, but Vinny doesn't like to drop back and defend, so they put him as a striker. This is something that Xabi Alonso cannot get over. He can't get over how difficult it is to manage this player and this ego. And you saw it today. The Bernabeu has had enough of him. Has honestly had enough. They're sick and tired of it. I'd be sick and tired of it too. It's a player, a very arrogant player, very egotistical player. And you see it when he gets subbed off. You see it during the games. It's just not enough, man. So solid games. Rodrigo, solid game. But Gonzalo Garcia, let's talk about the crack. The GOAT. Gonzalo Garcia, does it say right here, his age? 21 years old. Academy player. And minutes played 88. Amazing performance. 3 goals off 3 shots. That's efficiency right there. He's 100%. So amazing. And he would drop back to defense. He was in the build-up. He was everywhere. Just a exemplary player of who someone through hard work, through humility, through discipline can have a great game and show what he's about, and he doesn't have to have all that ego. He comes back and defends, something that Vinny and Mbappe are not willing to do. He sets up plays, he finishes them, and he ends up having a man of the match performance and a hat trick. Meanwhile, Vinny is still on a goal drought because Vinny seems to only care about himself. You could tell that I'm not very fond of Vinny Jr. No, because I see a lot of potential in him, and he chooses his arrogance and his self interest over what he can be. And I don't like players like that. I'm gonna be honest. The substitutes that came in, Arda Güler comes in with an assist. Uh, Fran Garcia scores the goal. Mastantuono comes in, finally gets his 15 minutes of play. Ceballos came in, and Ferland Mendy comes back, plays a couple minutes before the 90 minutes are up, plus those extra 2-3 minutes. Really solid game, man. Really solid game. I think this is something that I didn't expect. I probably expected Real Madrid to have a harder time. I was hoping that they would lose, obviously, or they would at least lose points, but no. Today they came, and little by little they just started chipping away, goal after goal after goal, and it was thanks to Gonzalo Garcia. He is that positional striker that Real Madrid has needed all season, and unfortunately, Mbappe is not that type of player. Mbappe is interchangeable with Vinny, and that's going to be the hard part. I think Xabi Alonso has a very difficult decision to make right now because what do? You put on your substitute striker, and he scores a hat trick, has a man of the match performance, and all of a sudden, what? You're just going to put him right back on the bench? It's something to consider. Do you consider Mbappe on the left and Vinny on the bench? Do you consider Mbappe on the left and Vinny on the right, Rodrigo on the bench? But Gonzalo Garcia has to play, man. He showed today that he has to play and he deserves to play. So that's going to be a tough situation for Xabi Alonso. He has a lot of players in very few positions. In the attack, he has Vinny, he has Rodrigo, he has Gonzalo, he has Guler because he doesn't really like putting him here that much. He has Mastantuono. Um, and then you have Bellingham also that kind of hovers around here. Can't play here. You have Valverde that plays here. Luckily for him, the two right backs are injured, so he has a spot here. But once he comes back, where do you plug him in? And just so many players that Xabi Alonso has to deal with, and they kind of don't all mesh with each other in every single lineup. It's like, okay, if this guy plays, then these two have to play, or if this guy plays, he has to play over here, and if he plays over here, then you can play these two. But if there's a right back, then where do you put Valverde, and so on and so forth, and it's just really complicated. And I mean, Xabi Alonso is doing a pretty good job. He's finding positions, he's finding moments to play them all, but it's tough, man. It's going to be tough for him, but very solid victory. And now both Real Madrid and Barcelona go with their heads held high, especially Real Madrid. Real Madrid is, with this win right here, Real Madrid's going into the Super Cup with an energy that maybe up until today we weren't expecting them to go with. It's going to be a very interesting match versus Atleti. A reminder that the last time they faced each other, Atleti won 5 goals to 2. I think it was in the Metropolitano, so it was in Atleti Stadium. This next game is going to be neutral. However, because it's in Saudi Arabia, it's neutral. But because it's Real Madrid and there's so many fans worldwide of Real Madrid, I think Real Madrid is going to be uh, significantly the more favored team in that stadium. They're going to feel like the home team. Although Atleti does have a lot of fans, not it's not like Bilbao versus Barcelona is going to be probably 95% Barcelona fans. In this game, we might see a 70-30, 75-25, something like that. But it's going to be tough. Real Madrid is going to be the more favored team in the stadium, and it's going to be tough for Atleti. Now, Atleti has to play at 3 o'clock versus Real Sociedad. That's going to be a tough game for them. If they don't get the 3 points, they might go with a low morale to the game. And I think I think with how Real Madrid played today, they have uh, the best chance to to take this game, to take the Super Cup game versus Atleti. And watch out with this form, the way they played today. Be careful that they don't beat Barcelona. Hopefully, Barcelona's in the final, and be careful they don't beat them and take the Super Cup. I think that's going to be the latest test for Xabi Alonso. First that semifinal, and then possibly the final. With what it looks like today, I think they are going to be finalists, but the game has to be played. But yeah, solid game by Real Madrid. Not much more to say. Um, on the other side, Betis really bad, really bad. Anthony not so good, and Lo Celso came in, started doing a few things, but not too much. They get the goal. I think it was Hernandez. Yeah, Hernandez, the Colombian, gets the goal, but too little, too late. They get the 3-1, and then it ends 5-1, as you see here. Gonzalo Garcia. You had the header from Asensio off the corner, and something that I had here written out. Basically, my thoughts towards what had happened today. Um, I feel like I feel like Real Madrid in the beginning of the game. Later on, they started clicking more, and you saw it. But earlier in the game, I felt like Real Madrid's play was same as always, kind of like how do I say it? Just very uh, situational, right? Like most attacks, 75% of the attacks go through Vinny's wing, goes through here, this side. You give the ball to Vinny, and Vinny does his magic here. And it either ends up with a cross by Vinny, or possession is been taken away, and reasons for why the Bernabeu is not very happy with Vinny lately. But a lot of times also it's a dribble into this box or outside of this box, and it's a foul. And I want to see that right now. The foul. The foul stats. Let's see. Discipline. No. Defense. Clearance. No, no, no. Where do you have right here? Fouls committed. So 10 fouls by Real Madrid, 12 fouls by Betis. 5 corner kicks for Real Madrid. Do they say how many free kicks they got? Passes, defense, duels. If they do, I'm not seeing it right now. I'm not gonna look too much into it. But yeah, the what I was noticing, especially early on in the game, was that a lot of times Real Madrid's chances came from a foul in the box and or not a foul in the box, but a foul near the box, and it was usually a free kick. And I know one of Gonzalo Garcia's goals comes from a free kick. The Asensio goal comes from a corner kick. And up until then, those were the 2 goals. I think no, maybe the one by Asensio, the one by Gonzalo Garcia, the second one was a golazo. I think it was a volley off his chest. I have to really watch the highlights. We're watching in just a little bit, but definitely up until that moment, I was saying, man, Real Madrid, it just depends on their individualities, get the foul, and some type of set piece, and that's what they look like until the middle of the game, and then everything opened up. Gonzalo Garcia went off, and then eventually the subs came on and started playing their way, and they started looking better and better towards the end. Granted, by then the game was practically over. Betis had all but given up, so not really much of a serving size towards that second half of the game. But they looked good. Real Madrid looked good. They looked convincing, and they look like they're a happier, more patient team now. So let's see. Let's see how it goes in the Super Cup. Um, but my takeaway out of all of this is their defense is just really solid. Betis couldn't do anything about it, and although sometimes the possession isn't completely Real Madrid's, out of possession they look comfortable. At least they looked comfortable today, and in possession they slowly try to gauge where they can shoot. They don't play too much through the middle, and it's clear that they're missing that midfielder that can play them through the middle. I think Bellingham tried a few passes here and there in the middle. They just never connected. He was much of the time too off to the left, covering Vinny's wing, and not the most ideal position for him. But when you deal with a player like Vinny, it's you got to fit him. You got to fit a player wherever you can. You want to play Bellingham, you're going to play here because he also wants to play, but he doesn't want to play here, so you play him up here. And it's just like I don't know. I don't know how long this can go. And I think Real Madrid fans are in their full right to be criticizing Vinny at this moment of the season because it's just like he just wants everything his way or the highway, and it's just it's not good enough. But yeah, I'll leave you guys with that. Great game by Real Madrid. Makes everything super interesting. They're back to within 4 points. Let's look at the standings really quick. Although the standings aren't complete because we're still missing two games by Villarreal and a game by Atleti. And a game by Espanyol. So a lot of these games, for some reason, Real Madrid and Barcelona have played extra games. I guess it's because they're going to the Super Cup, and then during the Super Cup, maybe there might be Liga games during the week. I got to check that schedule. But that's what it looks like. Barca ahead, 49, 45, behind 4, 2 games in hand. So let's say they get 2 games, that's 6. That's 44. They'll still be in third place. Yeah, and they'll end with 40 if they get their win. So Villarreal is really up there. Everybody else is kind of fighting for these bottom of the top 6, the bottom 3 of the top 6. So So yeah, but good stuff. Real Madrid goes into the Super Cup. Really interesting. Gonna be awesome. Gonna be awesome. And I'll see you guys then. Peace.